welcome in to another episode of the SoBros Power Hour right here on SoBros Network. Mine's right, ass is tight as we tackle episode 95 for you today. We're going live on the socials for this one. So if you're watching live on Twitter, Instagram, no, that's not right, Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook, happy Thirsty Thursday to you. Hope you're kicking back and enjoying the end of a long, hard work week. If you're listening on your podcast feed Friday morning, well then, folks, it is finally Friday, free again, getting our motors running for a wild weekend here on the SoBros Power Hour. No reason in particular to go live today. We just thought, you know what? Hey, we can do it, so why don't we do it? So here we are. Stoney Keeley, the EIC at SoBrosNetwork.com. Here, you can follow me on Twitter at Stoney Keeley. Follow us collectively at SoBros Network on all major social media platforms. Joined by the utility man for SoBros Network, coming to us from Memphis, Tennessee, Stephen McCash. Stephen, how you doing today, my man?
Man, I am sweating like a $2 whore in church. I know we're live, but that's not going to stop me. A little backstory. My AC went out this week. So we've been patiently waiting for our AC guy to come out, who's coming out 8:00 tomorrow morning. So all you fine folks watching in HD get to watch me sweat and glisten for the next hour.
We'll try not to go the full hour of the power hour for this. That's the worst, man. When you're waiting on some kind of service to come out to the house. I can remember being a kid and we lost air conditioning, but it was like in August growing up in Gladeville, Tennessee. Like the summer heat in Tennessee, if you're not from the area or frequent the area, I don't think you fully appreciate just how hot, sticky, humid that it gets around here. So I can remember being a kid having to sleep overnight in a room that didn't have air conditioning in the middle of the summer and thinking, hey, I got a great idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go fill up bags of ice from the freezer and I'm going to put them in my pillowcase and I'm going to put them under the blanket next to me. And I woke up the next morning and my bed was just a soaking wet mess between melted ice and sweat. So that's not a good feeling, man. Hate that you're going through that.
I'm sure teenage Stoney woke up to some wet beds as well, maybe a little stickier than wet. But no, my dumb ass got off work early and decided, hey, it's going to rain the next 7 days here. I need to take advantage of this time, get my ass home, mow the yard before it rains, which I did. And then I came in forgetting that, oh, you dumbass, you don't have AC. So I took the coldest, quickest shower I think I have in like 30 years.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to tackle some news.
Man, I tried to mow the yard this morning and I thought, you know what? I'm going to beat the rain. It's supposed to rain here. I think it was supposed to have come through like an hour ago or so.
It just started here.
And, my wife told me it was coming in tonight. So I thought, you know what? Work's a little slow. I can kind of get out in increments and go mow the yard a little bit as a time as I'm still checking in on my cases at the day job. I get the front yard done, thankfully, and then it just starts pouring down rain like 11 o'clock this morning. So I'm like, well, shit. So I got half a yard mowed. I got my front yard done. At least that's the side that people can actually see. So it's been a minute since we've done a SoBros Power Hour. It's been since like, I think before the week before the NFL draft. You've been keeping up with my work. I do appreciate that, but it's been kind of crazy covering the NFL draft this year and had to pull the Power Hour last week, had to pull the Unofficial Titans podcast last week because I was live streaming for 11 hours and 21 minutes the weekend of the draft and my voice was gone, struggling with allergies. You can still kind of hear like my voice is still not back to full strength just quite yet, but it's that time of the year, man. It's a struggle for anybody that has allergies in this part of the country. It just downright sucks. But I bring up the NFL draft because we haven't had a chance to really catch up about it. And I do want to talk about it a little bit. I want to hear, first of all, what you think about your New Orleans Saints and the draft that they had this year. Are you happy with it? Are you satisfied? Or are you like a lot of Titans fans feeling pretty pissed off like they ignored a position of need?
I'm fairly happy. My biggest thing had nothing to do with the draft when it comes to the Saints. It was their free agency searching for a quarterback and picking up Derek Carr. People are stoked about it down south, about 5.5 hours south of me. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Will we make the playoffs? Probably. I mean, who is there in the NFC South?
I was about to say that
Carolina,
division looks ass.
Carolina's probably the best there is.
Maybe Atlanta?
Possibly. But I mean, it's a who's who. Anybody could win
Yeah.
it. I mean, we took care of some issues we needed. We got a defensive tackle out of Clemson that I'm really high on. I like the running back out of TCU we picked up,
Yeah.
Ken Miller. We had what am I looking at? 7 draft picks? Yeah, 7. What I'm counting. It's a solid draft, but I don't think we picked up anybody that's going to change the trajectory of this team for the next couple of years.
It kind of felt
that blew me away.
it kind of felt like they kind of like the Titans kind of like had a safer draft, like taking care of the trenches there. Not
Yes.
anything too sexy, but just filling, kind of beefing up a little bit.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the Miller pick specifically because they do invest. I believe it was a 3rd round pick. It was an earlier round pick for him. They sign Jamal Williams in free agency. They still have Alvin Kamara. Is this kind of, do you think this is kind of a sign that maybe the Kamara era is kind of winding down a little bit? I mean, make sense of that pick for me.
I kind of hope it is because the last couple of years he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Him and Mike Williams haven't been on the field at the same time for more than I'm just guessing off the top of my head, more than 20 snaps in the past year.
Oh shit.
I mean, constantly hurt. I mean, Mike Williams was out the whole year, the year before last. He played, I don't know 5 games, 6 games before he shut it down last year. I think the Kamara run is coming to an end probably, if not after this year, the following year. And then I think Mike Williams will be gone after this season. That's just my opinion. I don't know off the top of my head how much money they have invested in him, but they're not getting what they've invested in return because he hasn't been on the field.
I'm curious your thoughts on the Titans draft as well, because there are a lot of Titans fans that are super mad about it. I'm on the side of man, I think they kind of knocked it out of the park in terms of the identity of this football team, filling holes, and then potentially getting a franchise quarterback for the future. Not the guy I would have picked, but you better get on board with it or, the train's leaving the station. Now, what did you think of the Titans draft?
They said, fuck defense.
Yeah, they did. They said, we're good.
Straight up, fuck defense. New GM is all I have to do is score more than the other team. That's all I have to do. And if that's your way of thinking, that's great. Enjoy your arena ball way of thinking, but you don't have the players on your team on offense to think that way. I really, on my heart of hearts, thought they were going to unload Derrick Henry.
Well,
on draft night.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of conversations about that happening. I don't know. I don't know that I'd still rule it out just yet.
True. Here's my thought process though. If they had done that, they wouldn't have had to wait to demolish Nissan Stadium after this coming season, because the fan base would have went ahead and blown it up. They've been so pissed after what you did with AJ Brown on draft night last year, and then you add Derrick Henry being shipped off on the same night a year later. This fan base would have exploded.
Yeah, you're probably right there. But we just got some information right before we went live that the season opener, if I'm not mistaken, all I have to go by is your text message, but the season opener is going to be Titans at Saints.
Yes, that's true. September 10th, I believe, is the day, Sunday.
That's awesome.
Battle of mediocrity. Whatever team scores 9 first wins.
I was about to say 1st to 10 wins that one.
Yeah, probably pretty much. I'm taking the under.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is. Don't even know what it is.
I think whatever defensive team scores first. Now, granted, the Saints have a phenomenal defense. I think they'll get to Ryan Tannehill left and right all day in that game. But whether or not we can put up any points is to be seen. But since you didn't draft anybody on defense, I feel pretty good with my chances.
All right. I mean,
baby.
Forget Big Jeff getting the extension and Danico Autry and Harold Landry getting healthy and signing Arden Key. None of that matters, right?
No, I don't have to worry about Taylor Lewan tearing his taint.
You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that. Well, man, what have you been up to lately? How's Memphis been? What you been doing down there?
Memphis has been good. We sadly went downtown and watched our Grizzlies get just
What
butt
happened?
stomped by LeBron. We showed up. That's what happened. Um, Dylan Brooks can't shut his fucking mouth to save his soul,
Man, what do you
except when he gets his ass handed to him and he runs away like a little baby.
what do you think about the Grizzlies just publicly saying like under no circumstances are we bringing this guy back?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
City felt the same way too.
Yeah, that's
Even before the whole playoff started and he ran his mouth about LeBron and to LeBron, this city was over Dylan Brooks, especially for what he thought he was. He
yeah,
thought he could be, the third linchpin of this team, and I'm like, no, you're not. You're not Ja, you're not Jaron, and you're definitely not Desmond Bain. You shot like 20 something percent from the three
ugly.
point line, and that's why they left you wide the fuck open the whole series because you couldn't hit anything.
That was so painful to watch. It's like
Oh,
they clearly felt like we only got to defend four guys on the
true.
court at all times. And those some of those shots that he would take, it reminded me of the way this is going to sound so stupid, but it reminded me of the way that I used to play pickup basketball at MTSU because I could never handle the ball. I couldn't dribble to save my life. So I told my teammates up front, I'm like, if you throw me the ball, if you pass me the basketball in a game, I'm either going to immediately pass it to someone else or I'm just going to fucking shoot it from wherever the hell I'm at. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw it up as soon as I get the ball. And I felt like Dylan Brooks did a lot of that and
Yeah.
nobody respected him. Nobody
Nope.
even so much as got in his way. It was kind of time for a reset. When you hear Draymond Green talking on his podcast about how the Grizzlies are not going to be a title contender because they are relying on a guy like Dylan Brooks to really fortify the team. And his point was basically like, you got a guy like that out there running his mouth, ain't doing shit, and you're relying on him to carry the team at times. Like it's a weakness. It is a weakness that teams are going to exploit. And that feels like exactly what the Lakers did in this series.
Yeah. He thinks he's Dennis Rodman,
Yeah.
and he's
Oh,
not because Dennis could back it up. He wouldn't score shit either, but he wouldn't shoot ridiculous stuff either. He just like, I'm gonna get my
yeah.
rebounds and I'm gonna stop you from being able to get yours, and he did. That's
Yeah.
why he's a Hall of Famer. But so I've turned my focus to the Memphis Showboats. Got some spring football going on here. Fuck the XFL. It's all about the USFL and me and the other like 2,000 people that go to each game.
All right.
Good times.
Man, I had a yard sale last week. It wasn't anything like the Watertown mile long yard sale. This was just in my neighborhood, Triple Crown. So we were out for like 4 hours. We set up a few tables. It was mostly the same stuff that we had at the Watertown yard sale. Set it up out in the driveway from 7 to 11 and called it a day after that. We made $52 as a family.
Wow.
52 bucks. So that was pretty cool, but we did get to go to where did we go eat after that? Dose Sisters out here. That's
Okay.
I took you the last time we recorded Drinking With out here. We went and had after 3 episodes, we went and got some Mexican food at Dose Sisters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then came back and shelled out 2 more episodes, 5 episodes in a day. That was a marathon.
Thank God we're
So
only doing 3 next week.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I did that. I went out to Zany's last night to see Dusty Slay. I don't know if you're familiar with Dusty Slay or his work,
I'm
but
familiar with his work.
yeah, he's one of my favorite follows on TikTok. That's where I found out about him. And my wife hits me up earlier in the week and she's like, "Hey, I got 2 tickets for Dusty Slay. You want to go with me?" I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Of course I want to go. I love Dusty Slay." She didn't know who he was. So we went out there and it was a great time. We were having a good time,
Nice.
as it were. And Yeah, I just want to shout out Zany, shout out Dusty Slay. If you're not watching his stuff, check him out.
Yep.
Last thing. Oh,
I
go
was going
ahead.
to say real
Sorry.
quick, I have a couple of comedy shows coming up here.
Oh, okay.
Brett Kreisner and Tiffany Haddish and some other comedians are coming to play at AutoZone Park in July.
Damn, that's
And
the
then,
minor league baseball stadium.
minor league. So the Redbirds are the Cardinals AAA team.
That'll
And
be
then
cool.
in next month at Graceland, I'm seeing I just went blank on his name. Jesse Esselnick?
I don't know.
Oh shit. You would know him if you see him. He's a real dry sense of humor, kind of an insulty comic.
Okay.
He's
I'm in.
hysterical.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys you either love him or you hate him because of his delivery style.
Nice. Sounds fun. The last thing I wanted to mention in terms of what I've been up to, I got into some Pilates. I've taken a few
Nice.
classes. I have to take the beginner class over and over, but
I would too if I tried it.
but
And I
it's
have a master Pilates teacher in my
well,
house. And
I was about to say let's shout her out.
Yep.
Magic Circle Pilates.
That's
Am I getting
correct.
that right? Magic
Yep.
Circle Pilates. Your wife instructional videos right there on my MacBook. I can do it in my office. It kicks my ass the first time I did it, but I oh, there she is.
Hey, we're live streaming.
the, the instructor herself is right there. It kicked my ass, but at the end of it, man, I felt like rejuvenated and energized, and I felt like I had a really strong base. Like there's lots of work with your hips that you're
What
doing.
it's all about, the base.
Yeah, and I felt like, man, I'm so fucking strong right now. I'm gonna go out in the driveway and flip my fucking Nissan Altima down the hill. Is what I felt like I could do. So shout out to Magic Circle Pilates.
Yep.
You're not partaking just yet, are you?
Not yet. I mean, I've been with this woman going on 10 years, and I think I've taken 2 Pilates classes in that time. It's
Okay.
not for me.
Yeah.
It's not for me. I don't
I
have that
know
kind of patience.
one of those times was at the SoBros content retreat last
Correct.
summer.
Which I think I laughed myself in shape
Yeah.
more than I did from the exercising.
I'm still amazed that nobody farted during that
Oh,
and
especially
actually,
Brandon.
now that I think about it, I'm wondering, did Brandon actually fart?
He probably did.
I don't know. That video is up on our Patreon. So if you want to see us, me, McCash, Brandon, Owen, and Brittany, I believe, were the 5 that did it,
Yes.
doing Pilates, courtesy of Magic Circle Pilates.
Yep.
That's on our Patreon,
And if you're interested
patreon.com/SoBros Network.
in learning or taking some Pilates, you can hit up Healthy Heather Pilates on Instagram. I think that's right. Heather McCash. That's what you need to find on Instagram. Heather Holloway McCash. That'll get you there.
We're doing a great job.
I'm a great husband. Husband of the year right here, people.
All right. Let's get to our Nashville stories of the week.
Let's fucking go.
We got to talk about Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift
I'm
takes
here.
over Nashville. It coincides with having the biggest Taylor Swift hater I may have ever met in my life, McCash, on the show. It's wet Sunday night. Fans are passing out. They're throwing up. It's given me flashbacks to being inside Nissan Stadium during the Garth Brooks fiasco in 2022. Was it 22? I think it was last
That sounds
summer.
right. It was last year, year before.
One of the two, yeah. It's recently delayed for hours, but she eventually goes on. I think she went on at 10:30 at night. What do you think of the circus coming to town with Taylor Swift?
That's exactly what it is. Look, I have said through all my friends and family, I don't like Taylor Swift's music. Never have, never will. Is some of her stuff catchy? Is she a good songwriter? Absolutely. I take nothing away from her talent. My biggest gripe and issue with Taylor Swift is the Swifties, her little army.
Okay.
Because they act like she invented fucking everything. My fucking God. Oh, she played in the rain for 3 hours. She's not the first person to have a concert delayed and then still play the concert. Go back to 1983, Diana fucking Ross The word diva exists because of this woman. She played in Central Park for 2 nights. The first night, we had some issues with weather. Second night, went off without a hitch. She played in front of 800,000 people in those 2 days. The first night was she only got to play about an hour before the city, not Diana Ross, the city shut it down because there was 50-mile-an-hour winds along with this rain, and 40,000 homes around that area lost power. So they had to shut the show down. It was broadcast live on fucking Showtime. So you can find it on YouTube. You can find it on DVD. Diana Ross did this before Taylor Swift was even fucking born. So let's calm down.
So are you saying
you're in a
go ahead.
cult? You're in a cult.
Are you saying that you would not wait in line for hours to go sit on the bench that, oh, fuck, I've already forgotten what the bench is, the significance of the bench.
Oh, at Centennial?
At Centennial Park, there's a bench that she is something tied to somehow.
Here's the deal. That was all a publicity grab by the city and the mayor. We know that.
Okay.
So they posted the tweets, Instagram, what have you, that this was being given to her in her honor. That's great. But these fucking people showed up in like a Biscuit Love type line, a pancake pantry line, to look and possibly sit on a bench that A, Taylor Swift has never touched. B, my fan's falling over. We're having technical difficulties.
No. Live on the air. All right, we're good.
That's what you get for putting your fan on top of your dad's urn. Anyway, Taylor Swift has not seen this bench, let alone set her little white ass on it. I shouldn't talk shit about Taylor Swift. I actually like Taylor Swift, the person, for what she stands for, her activism and such, her philanthropy and such.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of all that, of Taylor Swift, the person. I'm just not a fan of her little fucking army that thinks she's invented everything in music.
Well, they're young, right? I mean,
no, they're not all young.
I don't know.
Some of these bastards are like my age, your age.
Shit.
Yeah. Is there the teen, preteen? But you know, a lot of pop artists have that fan base where it mixes generations. You know, my favorite of all time was Prince, and like, I was 8, 9 years old coming up when Prince was heavy with Purple Rain and such, and then I'd go to concerts 30 years later where you had multiple generations of fandom, showing up. So I get that.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, in my head, Taylor Swift is young, but then when you stop and think about it, nah, she's been around for like 20 years at this point. So no,
she's to it.
I'm just thinking about it from my perspective, like, oh, these young kids go to see Taylor Swift these days, but not entirely the case there. I've never liked her country music, but when she made that switch to pop in like 2013, 2014 or whenever it was, I've liked pretty much all of her stuff since then.
Been all the same for me.
All the same. What do you think about? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say it's all white noise to me.
What do you think about the kid that decided he was going to propose to his girlfriend in the stands at the concert when she plays the song? I don't remember the name of the song, but the Marry Me Juliet.
Marry Me? Is that what it is?
Something like that. Marry Me Juliet, you'll never have to be alone. He drops to his knee and proposes to this girl in the stands, and then everybody around them starts just freaking out.
My thing is this. If you're going to ball out like that, you need to ball out on your seats. Homie looked like he was about 5 rows from the top.
They were on the roof of the Batman building.
Yeah, I don't know if that was here in Nashville or at another show. It looked like it was an indoor show.
Yeah.
From the little clip of the video I saw. And what's funny is she freaks out, blah, blah, blah. There's obviously a friend or something, a row or two back recording it. Or either somebody just watching what's happening.
Yeah.
But then there's a girl in the row in front of them that's like, oh my God, this is happening, and like touching all of her friends. Like, look at this. And they're like, I don't give a fucking shit about this little bastard. I'm here for Tay-Tay.
Yeah. I'm generally not a fan.
If this guy was, wanted to really show out, he would have written, DM Taylor, her people. He would have found out who her publicist is, who her managers are, who her dentist is, her OBGYN, and somehow gotten to Taylor and been like, look, this is what I want to do. Can you help me do this in a big, grand spectacle? Taylor would have ate that shit up.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably
He,
right.
she should drop his ass.
I'm not a fan of the in general, like the proposing at the concerts or at
Yeah,
the sporting events or stuff like that. I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
I proposed to my wife in our old apartment and we were getting ready for a road trip.
I did the same with Heather. My
Yeah.
first wife, I proposed at a fucking airport.
Is that right? Well, see, that's
Yeah.
kind of nice though.
No, no, no. It was near baggage claim. It wasn't nothing special. No,
All right.
no love actually moment or anything with that one.
I pulled a good one on my wife. We were getting ready. She had been really homesick because we got engaged during the we were engaged during the pandemic and we hadn't been able to go see her family for a long time. We were finally that summer venturing out of the house and we walked out and I was like, "Oh, wait a second. I think I forgot something." And when she turned around, I had the ring out and then
Nice.
she started crying and it was kind of a kind of a special moment.
Yeah. Mine had a little more thought than that.
Yeah.
So my wife is really big into shoes. Not like
Okay.
shoes like most women are. She likes single shoes. So if we're out somewhere, walking, driving, whatever, and she sees a lost shoe somewhere, she screams out, "Shoe!" And she
Yeah.
wants to stop and take pictures of it. She doesn't want to touch it or anything. She just wants to. She feels that when she sees a shoe by itself somewhere, it's telling her, the world's telling her she's on the right path to wherever she's
Okay.
going. All right.
Yeah.
So what I then did was took a single shoe from her pairs of shoes, my pairs of shoes, and I made a heart of shoes on our bed in our bedroom with a shoe in the middle of the heart with the ring box in it. And then so when
Man,
she went into the bedroom, I was walking behind her, and when she turned around, I proposed.
that is A plus stuff right
Thank
there.
you.
That is romance.
That's what you get when you're messing with McCash.
Romance is not dead. Romance
No,
is not
I'm
dead.
trying to kill it.
Our second Nashville story of the week, WrestleMania is coming to Nashville. This, of course, dropped on 1045 The Zone's 3HL last week. Quote, WWE has committed to our new stadium hosting WrestleMania in 2027. Titans president and CEO Burt Nihil confirmed. Man, I'm stoked. We kind of knew, like, you're building this new stadium. You ain't building it for nothing. Talking about Super Bowls, national championships, all that sort of stuff. WrestleMania was always in that conversation. To me, it just kind of feels like the first domino to actually fall. Like, oh shit, this is legit. This is going to happen now, assuming that the WWE holds up to their end of the bargain, but there's no reason to think they wouldn't want to be in the brand new state of the art cutting
Yeah.
edge stadium. They do it every year with the same as the Super Bowl does. You got a new stadium, here we come.
Yep.
But you've got a great piece, kind of fantasy booking this WrestleMania card for 2027 on SoBrosNetwork.com. What do you think about this? What's your excitement level knowing that the granddaddy of them all is coming to Nashville soon?
Now that I don't live in Nashville anymore, I'm super excited about it. I will be in attendance for that whole week with all the indie shows that come into town. Uh, I can't wait to see that again, to see that in what I call my second hometown. I spent 14 years in Nashville. This is huge for the city. People who aren't wrestling fans in Nashville or the Middle Tennessee area are not going to see it that way. But WrestleMania doesn't just come in for one, well, now 2 nights, just doesn't come in for 2 nights. It's there for the whole week. We're going to get Friday night SmackDown on Friday. You'll get the 2 nights of WrestleMania. You'll get the Raw after Mania. That's 4 nights of wrestling right
The
there.
Hall
Then
of
you
Fame?
add in the Hall of Fame. NXT will do a show that Saturday afternoon. And then I would imagine easily 10 to 12, if not more, independent wrestling companies setting up shop throughout the week. And
Yeah.
then all the charity work that the WWE does in town with Make a Wish and different literacy campaigns and such they're a part of. This is going to bring not only a lot of goodwill to the city, but it's going to bring millions upon millions of dollars and taxes and generated funds to the city.
Yeah, and I would say, like, on the surface, a lot of people, if you're a pro wrestling fan, the the subset of people that are independent wrestling fans on top of being WWE fans is pretty small. So I feel like a lot of people in the area, if you're not keeping up with indie wrestling, you just see WrestleMania come into town. You don't realize there's going to be, if you want to go see wrestling, there's going to be like a week straight where you can go to a show. And I don't know if they still go as hard as they did a few years ago before the pandemic, but I know the last time we did this was 2019. We went up to Jersey City,
Yep.
and the show started on Tuesday. Tuesday
Yep.
night was the first show, and they ran pretty much around the clock until WrestleMania week was over with. So this is going to be a mecca for pro wrestling fans, and I would encourage anybody. It's hard to say like you need to watch an indie show in 4 years, but like
Yeah.
approach it with an open mind. Like if you like wrestling in the WWE, kind of get out and check out some of this other stuff that's going around too, because it's gonna be awesome. And it'll be a shit show too, but
If you
it's
want to
worth it.
see future stars of professional wrestling, you're going to want to go to these shows during the week outside of what the WWE presents.
Yeah,
Because you
for
look
sure.
at the roster of the WWE and you include AEW, you can take a large portion of that talent. And 5 years ago, they were working these indie shows WrestleMania week.
Yeah.
You look at a Matt Riddle, just him off the top of the head. Uh, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn were still doing indie shows. Well, maybe not 5 years ago, but a great deal of talent was
At one
working the
point.
indies. Austin
Gunther.
Theory, Gunther, Walter, as we referred to him as
Yeah.
back in those days. Yeah, it's a great time. There's nothing like WrestleMania week, especially if you've traveled to experience. But this being in our backyard, let's say, man, all we got to do is hop on 40 or
Mm.
65
Mhm.
and fight some fucking traffic.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be one of those bucket list dream come true kind of moments. Never
Yeah.
thought I would see the day that WrestleMania would be here in Nashville. You know, when I'm growing up here in the 90s in Mount Juliet, it's nothing but a 2-lane road across town. There ain't shit to do downtown. Now it's exploding. It's been exploding for a while, but this is kind of the icing on the cake.
And it
Story number
looks like
3. Go
I
ahead,
was going to
sorry.
say real quick before we move on. It looks like if construction goes as planned and there's no hiccups or anything, this will be the first event in the building because the Titans won't play in that building until
Yeah.
August, September of that year. So unless Taylor Swift swoops in like she did in LA and is
Yeah.
first at SoFi, WrestleMania will be the first event at the new stadium.
Oh, that would be wild. That would be wild. And the main event that you fantasy booked, by the way, Solo Sikoa and Gunther for the strap, man,
Yeah,
I injected into my veins right away.
for real. I
Go,
think in 4 years that could be a WrestleMania main event.
yeah, go check out the piece on SoBrosNetwork.com. Fantastic work. Um, Story number 3, our Nashville stories of the week. I didn't write the headline down for this. I just jotted down Suckin toes. But this story comes to us courtesy of
Oh,
Fox 17. A 4th Avenue South Hilton hotel guest woke up to a hotel night manager sucking on his toes March 30th, according to the Metro Nashville Police Department. I've got a little write up on this on SoBrosNetwork.com as well. Man, I thought you had to pay extra for the toe sucking, but I guess
man.
they're just hashing it out all willy nilly at the South Hilton Hotel. McCash, what are you doing if you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you got some stranger sucking on your toes?
I mean, it's going to depend on the stranger, first of all. But if it's the guy I saw in the picture of this story, I'm probably taking my other foot and breaking it and knocking his teeth down his throat
It would be
with a
hard
big old
not
heel
to.
kick.
Yeah.
Dude, all I know is if that happened to me, I can't speak for the whole company, but that Hilton in particular would have my name on it somewhere. The McCash Inn, I don't
Yeah.
care what you want to call it. Y'all owe me some monies.
Yeah, that's pretty traumatic. I think it's going to be a while before you can build trust back up in a hotel after something like that. That
Yeah.
is creepy as all get out. And the guy's mugshot, I think it was Josh Black that tweeted out like the look on this man's face in the mugshot says, "I'll do it again."
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And what's sad is there's not a mark on him at all.
No.
So I don't know if the person who got their toes sucked kind of liked it and took it easy on him. Dude, not me.
I'd be fighting.
I'm the one sucking the toes, not getting my toes sucked. But I'm doing it because it was requested, not because I
Yeah.
just snuck into somebody's room.
Yeah. That's tough scene, man. Tough scene.
Yeah.
I you know, there's I don't know how you're right. The man doesn't have a scratch on his face. I don't know how your gut reaction is not to just immediately with the other foot just kick the guy.
Bam.
Or
We got people being shot at and killed for playing hide and seek in
yeah,
somebody's backyard or turning out of their driveway and because they made a wrong turn or whatever. We got people being shot and killed for stupid shit like that. But yet I can suck on some toes and I don't have to worry about it.
man, I'm too light of a sleeper for that to be pulled
Same.
on me. Like I'm probably waking up as soon as I hear the door open. How deep do you have to be asleep for some guy to come in and just start sucking on your toes?
That's the kind of turn down service I don't want.
But I kind of want that deep of sleep.
I need instead of the do not disturb sign, I need the do not suck my toes sign.
I do not consent to having my toes sucked.
Yeah.
Maybe that's in the fine print somewhere. And
Yeah, I must have missed it.
yeah, I don't know, but I'm kind of out on waking up to having somebody sucking on my toes. Unless, oh, never mind. I can't tie the joke together quick enough. So we're just gonna move on. There's a
Okay.
joke in there somewhere about unless it's the good kind of sucking toes, but I'm not dedicating the time to make
Look,
it.
we're live. Let's don't get canceled.
That's a good point. Story number 4, Nashville Symphony's community concerts are back. Via press release, the Nashville Symphony has announced dates and programs for their popular annual community concerts, a beloved summer tradition throughout Middle Tennessee from June 7th through 11th. The orchestra will perform free concerts in local parks and communities in Davidson, Macon, Sumner, and Wilson counties. McCash, I only bring this up because it's something different to do in Nashville in the summertime. Like we get caught up in all the Broadway noise, the honky tonks, the drinking beer and all that stuff. You might have to seek it out a little bit, but stuff like this is kind of, to me, this is the kind of thing that summer in the city is all about.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I think it's a great concept. Glad it's returning. Um, I I'm thinking of it from the perspective of one of the members of the orchestra.
Yeah.
And if I'm like a cello player, for example, I doubt the symphony is letting me show up to this park in June rather, when it's 90 degrees outside in Nashville
Yeah.
and I'm supposed to wear a suit to play my cello. I don't think they're letting me show up in fucking shorts, tank top, and some sandals to
Yeah, maybe
play
not.
to play the cello. And I'm just thinking about like that fucker's heavy. I gotta lug it from the parking lot to wherever they're playing at the park. And then I gotta stand up the whole time. Oh, it's like, no, fuck these kids.
Yeah. Touche. Always thinking about things from a different perspective. That's good.
Yeah.
We need that in
But I
today's
would go to
society.
it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to go to it. It's coming out to Lebanon,
Okay.
and it's gonna be at Cumberland University. So I'm thinking already, like, that might have to be a night date with my wife. Like, we can go out to Cedar City Brewing, get some good beer, some good food, and maybe go to the bookstores that are down there on the square, and then just mosey on over and catch us a live free concert. That sounds
Get
like
you
a
some culture.
a nice, peaceful Saturday night. Do you have a favorite thing to do in Nashville in the summertime that isn't like Broadway crazy?
Well, everything I do in Nashville has nothing to do with Broadway.
Well, touche. Same
Um,
here. Same here.
like it's somewhat free, but and we as a group have gone. Me and my wife have gone several times. But I love going to Game Terminal.
Yes. Mhm.
All the game, you go in, you play the games free. If you want to partake in alcoholic beverages and food, obviously you pay for that. I love Game Terminal to go to. If you want to stay inside where the video games are and the AC is, that's great. If you want to go outside, play giant cornhole, play, all the different games we played out there, ping pong and such. That's a great time. That's one of my favorite things to do. Plus, me and my wife are also members of Cheekwood, the botanical garden in Nashville. Uh, I can't express how much that's a joy and so much fun to go partake in throughout the year.
Man, my two things I try to do every summer, which actually I need to make it 3. We don't get to it every year, but my wife and I do love Cheekwood, and that's something that we try to do. The 2 things I do every summer, early before it gets way too hot and too humid outside, go spend an afternoon up on the hill at Arrington Vineyards. Beautiful place to watch the sunset. Great wine. They got the food trucks parked out there. You can get a good meal. It's a nice, peaceful evening away from the hustle and bustle of Nashville, Tennessee. And the other thing, which I know you and Heather have joined us for, a round of mini golf at Grand Ole Golf
Oh,
out
yeah.
in the Music Valley area. That's a place that to me still feels like hasn't been touched by all the gentrification of Nashville. It's coming because they just popped some new apartments up across
Oh, yeah.
Briley Parkway from
Yep.
the mini golf course. But to me, it does kind of still feel like a kind of an untouched area of Nashville. Like I'm kind of going back to my childhood whenever I go there. So it's awesome. I love that. Those are my 2 things that I love doing every summer here in Nashville.
I'll throw one more in real quick before we move on, and
Let's do
that's
it.
the Stardust Drive-In in
Yes.
Watertown. I lived there during the lockdown. That was one of the only
Yeah,
places
you
you could
did.
go, especially for entertainment. Uh, I love a drive-in. I grew up with them here in Memphis, going to the Malco Drive-In, which is still around.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they have 4 screens, so they run 7 nights a week.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
Double features, the whole works. Going to the drive-in is something that I think a lot of people don't know they can do in Nashville. I
Mhm.
mean, it's a 30, 45-minute drive out of the city, so it's a little bit of a trek, but it's well worth it. And it's not that expensive
Yeah.
compared to going to like AMC or a Regal or something.
Yeah, I love spending time out in Watertown too. They got a really good coffee shop out there that I can't remember the name of, so I can't give them any free plugs, but Music City Toys and Collectibles is up there. Go buy a Funko Pop, an old Hasbro WWF action figure. They've got a winery in Watertown now too that I
Oh yeah.
haven't been to, but I really want to go check it out sometime. And a couple of good restaurants right there in town too. And it's about as away from Broadway as
Yeah,
away
does it
from
good.
Broadway can get. Yeah, it's a good time out there. Per Nashville SC, Nashville Soccer Club's Hani Mukhtar named Tennessee's Professional Player of the Year by the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Nashville Soccer Club, in conjunction with the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, have announced that reigning 2022 Landon Donovan MLS MVP Hani Mukhtar has been named Tennessee's Professional Player of the Year by the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Mukhtar became the first Nashville SC player to win the 2022 Landon Donovan MLS MVP and the MLS Golden Boot. So talking Hani Mukhtar as Tennessee's Professional Player of the Year. Any gripe with that at all, McCash?
None whatsoever.
I'm with
Before
you.
I moved, I was able to go to one SC game, and it was where Mukhtar scored a hat trick. The first time ever an SC player had
Yeah.
got a hat trick, and I was there for that. I didn't know Landon Donovan was such a icon in MLS that the
Yeah.
MVP trophy was named after him. That's cool. I have no gripes with that either. I just didn't know that, so I learned something new here on the Power Hour.
I
Um,
I learned that too when I put this story in the agenda. I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't realize the MVP award was
yeah,
named after Landon Donovan."
I had no idea. You could have told me Landon Donovan was still playing for the MLS, and I wouldn't have known any better.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with
Um,
you.
but I will say for those listening, especially in the Nashville area, if you haven't been to Geodis Park, experienced an SC game yet, you are missing out.
Yeah.
Nashville has adopted MLS soccer in a way I never thought they would.
Yeah, I still haven't been, but I love watching the games on TV. And I tried, so I really like I get into the World Cup. I like the World Cup a lot. I like the Euros, the UEFA tournament or whatever, and they kind of coincide where it's like one tournament every 2 years you get to really get into. And I've tried before Nashville had a team to kind of get into MLS because it is easier to consume here, with the whole, accurate, well, I shouldn't say accurate, but local time zones. You don't have to
Yeah.
get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch a game. And I just couldn't get into it. But man, I'm watching these Nashville SC games on TV every chance that I get. I love it. And even had a couple of guys that were on the US national team for the last World Cup
Yep.
too. So
Zimmerman was one of them. Yeah.
yeah, and what, like 2 or 3-time defensive player of the year in Major League Soccer or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really cool to see the community, how Nashville has really taken to this team and now, kind of waves its flag proudly.
Yeah.
So
Memphis does the same thing with they have a team that is in the league that SC was before
the
it moved up.
USL,
Yeah.
yeah,
The Memphis FC 901, I think is what it's called. I haven't been to one
yeah,
of their games yet. They play at AutoZone Park where the Redbirds play.
sick
Uh,
logo.
it's a nice logo. They have a rabid fan base as well, and they are getting the money from the state and from local businesses, whatever, to build their own soccer stadium as well over at the fairgrounds here in the next couple of years. So that's going
Man,
to be
that's
exciting
cool.
to see soccer grow continuously throughout the South. A lot, and kind of in the way that the NHL in the last 20 years or so has grown throughout the South with Florida, Nashville, Carolina teams, Atlanta,
Yeah,
even.
yeah.
Uh, so I'd like to see soccer grow in the way that the NHL did in the South.
Yeah, I think part of it, man, not to go down a rabbit hole here, but I remember when all of the stuff with concussions in football, or I should say American football, started coming around, it kind of felt like there were a lot of, at least in my social circle, there were a lot of mamas and daddies that were like, we don't want our kids playing football because it's so violent. And you still hear that. Like, I know a lot of parents these days that don't want their kids playing tackle football, and they're kind of shifting and migrating to things like soccer. And I
Yeah,
think as generations pass in this country, more kids get into it, more kids are playing the sport, understanding it at an earlier age. You're naturally going to see that evolve into grown adults who are supporting local soccer teams and, buying season tickets, going to games, buying merchandise and stuff like that. And I think that is kind of the evolution of the sport in this country as it kind of catches up to the rest of the world and its fervor for shit, I forgot its nickname. Is it the beautiful game or is that golf? I don't remember.
it's something in that line. I don't remember. They don't talk about it on Ted Lasso, then I don't have it down to memory.
Yeah, I tried to really I tried to really wrap that up nicely and I couldn't
The
get it
bow's
there.
just a little untied.
Mhm.
It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have any issue with this at all. I think he's
Nah.
pretty clearly the Tennessee Professional Player of the Year. You're certainly not looking at any of the Tennessee Titans or the Nashville Predators right now. I think I don't know if there was voting, if they announced how things finished, but honestly,
Uh,
man, I think if it's not Hani Mukhtar, I think I'd probably go with John Morant.
yeah. I think John Morant could have easily been the winner of this if you take out some of the issues he had throughout the season. The
Fair enough.
personal issues.
Yeah.
The personal issues off the court issues, which I think you'll see that stuff go away going forward into next season because I truly
Mm,
feel now that I'm local here in Memphis, you see that he realized I just screwed up
yeah.
because him not making the All NBA team this year that was just announced cost him $40 million.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
doesn't change your attitude and your thought process with your career, because as an NBA player, especially an elite one like he is, you're not just a player, you're your own business
Mhm. Yeah.
and you make your money. And he cost himself. That's life. That's not only life changing for him, that's generational money, changing money that he's still going to make. Don't get me wrong, but man, that would have skyrocketed.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I think a cornerstone for the NBA. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Actually, man, I don't know that I would say the Grizzlies have ever had a guy that has his ceiling, his potential.
Uh,
I mean, I
maybe
know
Maybe one of the Gasol brothers would be the
Yeah,
closest.
yeah, I think you're right. I know guys like Zach Randolph, Tony Allen were
They were already
beloved.
established, though. They were
Exactly.
definitely beloved in the city, but as a player, they were all well established. They weren't Grizzlies from the beginning like the
Yeah.
Gasol brothers were, or Mike Conley, even Rudy
Yeah.
Gay.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think Jaw is that. Jaron Jackson. They have a. We're getting way off subject of soccer to basketball, but they have one of the brightest trios in the sport today, and they have them locked up for a long time. Well, Desmond Bain is ready for his, but Jaron Jackson and John Morant have signed extension deals last year and the year before that have them in Memphis for some years to come. So this team can be good if they get the right. They need some right veteran pieces around them, and if we get that, you won't see the things you've seen the last 2 years in the playoffs with the Grizzlies anymore.
Step one, getting rid of Dylan Brooks. You cross that off, you cross that off the list, and there's a little
Yep.
bit of addition by subtraction there. All right, let's wrap up our Nashville stories of the week. The Tennessean released a list of tourist traps to avoid, and I actually kind of think it's a pretty good list, man. They say the Angel Wing mural, don't go to that. You're going to be waiting in a long line. I mean, anybody from the area or that has visited the area can see it. You drive by, very photogenic. You get the nice little shot for the gram, but what you don't see, and this was pointed out in the article too, is the mile long line.
Ugh.
I almost said mile long yard sale again. Mile long line that people have to wait in for hours just to get up there and take the photo. It sucks. It's stupid. I don't get the appeal of it. You do you, I guess, but I think that's a good addition to this list. They actually have Lower Broadway on the list of tourist traps to avoid. I feel like every time you and I get together on the SoBros Power Hour, somehow the shittiness of Broadway comes up.
Yeah.
I could not agree more, man. There is way more to Nashville than what you can get on Broadway. They list Transpotainment. Be careful; those copyright people going to come after you, man. They're
Ugh.
tenacious. I don't have any interest in doing that kind of stuff anyway.
Nope.
And then they list Opry Mills, which I'm kind of conflicted about. It's the only one I'm conflicted about because I like Opry Mills. I like that it's kind of away from everything. And every once in a while, I'll go down there, see a movie, have a meal, have a couple beers, maybe scoot over and play some mini golf across the street, mosey around the hotel a little bit. That sounds creepy. I should specify. I should add some. Should add
Looking to
some
suck some toes.
I'm not the Opryland Hotel is a very scenic resort that you can enjoy a nice glass of wine and the landscaping in there. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm making it sound any better at all. I like Opry Mills, but I can actually see how, like, if you're traveling from across the country to Nashville and you end up at Opry Mills, you could absolutely be like, well, this is just a regular fucking mall. It's just a fucking mall
Yeah.
with a Dave and Buster's. But what do you make of this list of tourist traps to avoid in Nashville? Is there anything that you would add to it?
Well, I think this story that by the tennis somebody's lazy at the Tennessean because
Yeah,
it's the easiest story to ever fucking
you
write.
don't say.
No, yeah. Oh, you talking about the long ass line? I mean, I would also add Pancake Pantry, Biscuit Love, uh,
Yeah,
Loveless Cafe. If we're talking about tourist traps to avoid, there's some restaurants to avoid.
yeah.
Um, those are
Kid
the big
Rock's
those
big
are the big
ass
yeah.
honky
Well,
fuck.
you should avoid everything Kid Rock. I really did. This is off subject, and I'll get us back on. But the track list for Dolly Parton's rock album is out, and she does a duet with Kid Rock.
Oh no,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Ugh.
So that album has a skippable. It's not going to be a skipless album. I'm looking forward to her cover of Purple Rain, but that's we'll dive into that in November when it comes out.
All
But
right.
Opry Mills, man, I'm with you. I'm hit or miss on that. I enjoy a good outlet mall because I like a good deal. I
Yeah.
love a good. I love Johnny Rockets.
Oh
There's Johnny
man,
Rockets there.
love Johnny Rockets.
Love Johnny Rockets. Great movie theater. Um, but yeah, I get it because you have the Grand Ole Opry right there behind it. You've got the most annoying hotel in the world to me. Not because I don't think it's beautiful, but it's just so damn big you get lost in it.
It's expensive too.
Yeah, and that's every hotel in Nashville, to be honest.
Yeah, touche.
Um, yeah, I I enjoy Opry Mills, but I see why you would put this on this list. Um, yeah, I don't have any issues with that. And then I would put 12 South in general as a tourist
Oh,
trap
okay. It's a little
be-
spicy.
because there are some murals there that people line up to get,
There
the
are.
I Believe or whatever. Then you also have Reese Witherspoon's store there. Dapper Dan Draper, whatever the fuck it's called.
Don Draper.
Uh, yeah, Don
Isn't that
Draper.
the
Yeah,
guy from Mad Men? I
Mad
don't
Men.
even know. I don't even know what this is. I've never heard of this
It's
Reese
her clothing.
Witherspoon
It's her
store.
clothing store in 12
Huh.
South.
All right.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
If you ever come to Davidson County again, you were just 2 blocks away from it at Zany's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lord, son.
Damn. Got to get with it. I've been out in Mount Juliet for too long.
Yeah, the suburbs have changed you, have softened you, sir. But there's some great restaurants in 12 South, so I can't fully put it on my list. But
That's what I'm thinking about.
if I'll say this, if it's a weekend, I'm not going to 12 South.
Yeah.
Lined up with tourists and bachelorette parties because it's Airbnb central around there.
I'm with you, man. Like the last time that we went on a Saturday night, it took us forever to get into Jenny's to get some ice cream. It took us forever to get into Mafiosa's.
I miss Mafioso so much.
It was shoulder to shoulder with people, but then there was one night that my wife and I went after she got off work. It was like some random Tuesday, and it was like we had the neighborhood to ourselves.
Yep.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for our Nashville Stories of the Week. We got a segment that we just launched on the last episode that I did with Owen. We're going to be doing a little Am I the Asshole on the SoBros Power Hour. So, McCash, I ask you, am I the asshole? Let me burp.
I thought you wanted me to answer that now.
I got to let my burp out real quick. This is live broadcasting here. Am I the asshole for wanting a week's vacation alone away from my partner and children? Okay,
yes.
This is a pretty good one. Me, a 32-year-old female, and my partner, 37-year-old male, are in a disagreement. He thinks I'm selfish for considering this. I don't think I am. He suggested I post here to see what you all say. We've been together 12 years. My partner has 2 responsibilities in terms of the house. He walks the dogs in the morning and he goes to work full time 8 to 6. More often than not, he falls asleep at 8 p.m. He works in IT. We have 3 children, age 7, 4, and 2, and I am fully responsible for their care as well as every household duty, laundry, cooking, cleaning. I am a stay-at-home mom, but I am also self-employed. So after I look after the children all day, I then work for a couple of hours on my laptop. My birthday's coming up. I asked my partner what he would think if I booked myself a vacation for a week on my birthday and went on my own. If he could use his PTO to take time off to look after and spend the week with our 3 children, taking them to school and taking care of the house. He told me I was selfish. Quote, it's selfish to want to go on holiday for a week for my birthday. He said yes. My partner hasn't done a load of laundry in the 10 years. He cooks dinner occasionally, twice a month. He doesn't hoover, which I'm assuming is vacuum. He doesn't hoover, mop, or mow lawns. I get it. He's tired and he works full time, but I work too and I don't feel appreciated. I just want a week where I don't have to placate a crying child or stop the toddler from running into traffic or worry about everyone else's good time while sacrificing my own. The last time I spent time away from the children or the house was when we went out for dinner for his birthday in March after they were asleep, and I organized the babysitter. Oh, and my pap smear, which he tried to make me take the children to, even though he was home. The holiday would be paid for entirely by me. He gets 28 days of PTO, not including bank holidays. Last year, he lost 12 PTO days because he didn't take them. They're in the UK. Okay, so McCash, I ask you, is this woman the asshole in this situation?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now,
Why
I think
so?
I think they both are, but I'm going to tackle her because she's the one writing in. This marriage, this partnership, there's no communication. I can tell by the tone
Ah,
of this letter, they
okay.
do not communicate.
Okay.
She has taking on the responsibility of doing all this stuff
Mhm.
while he's out working, and honestly, you can tell she's at a tipping point where she not necessarily wants out, but she definitely wants Calgon to take her away.
So that's what you think's going on here.
I honestly,
Yeah.
I think what this couple needs is to use some of his PTO to go maybe get some counseling and learn how to communicate together better.
It
That
does
way,
kinda
that way she can be like, here's what I'm missing in our marriage. Because if you're wanting after 12 years, I don't know if they've been married the whole 12 years, but they've been together 12 years. If
mhm.
you're wanting to take a holiday, I knew they were in the UK the first time I heard the word holiday used
Yeah.
because they don't say vacation. If you want to go on vacation by yourself, away from your partner and your kids, there's something wrong, more wrong than what's in words here. So I would recommend, yes, you are the asshole, but I would recommend you go get some counseling. And that way you learn how to communicate better. That way you can ask your because you may she may have never asked her husband to help with laundry, help
Yeah.
with vacuuming and such. He may be more than willing to help it, even though he works 10 hours a day, but there's 24 in the day. You know, maybe if you look at it and you're like, hey, these chore items, if you want to call them that, need to be done at the house. Let's do them together. So
Yeah.
I can learn how your day was, you can learn how my day was, and we can communicate and talk together while we're doing things that benefit the house, benefits the kids. I will happily be that psychiatrist and
You
be
know
the
what?
talking point for them,
And
but I think that's what's missing here.
to your point, if he's helping with this stuff, then she might not feel so desperately like she just wants alone quiet time,
Yeah.
you know? And it does kind of read like these are all the things that I do. He doesn't do shit, but we don't ever connect the two like we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Um, and he's still, not picking up his slack, so to speak. I would have an issue with okay, you're asking me to take my PTO so that you can go on vacation. That's where, and I get she tries justifying it by saying, like, well, he had 12 days that he didn't even use last year. So
He probably
what's,
cashed it out to help pay for bills and shit.
well, yeah, I mean, we don't have the details there, but you know, I understand the justification, but at the same time, like, I kind of, I don't want to take my PTO to just, you know, for you to go on vacation. All of this the base idea here is like if my wife came to me and said, "Hey, I could really use a week off. Um, I'm just going to go to Cancun or something like that." I wouldn't have a problem with that. That wouldn't be I would say, "Yeah, great, whatever I can do to help out." I don't think it is wrong to I don't think she's an asshole for feeling overwhelmed, like she wants to go, just have some peace and quiet to herself. I don't think that's what makes her the asshole. But to your point, I think there's something here like y'all got to get together on this because it seems like each party is feeling a different way about this.
Yeah. I guarantee you, before she came up to him with this idea, he was oblivious to how she felt
Yeah.
because they don't communicate. Because she could have come to him and be like, "Look, I'm really worn out. I'm I feel broken down. What if we went away together on a
Mm,
holiday and got, family or somebody to watch the kids,
yeah.
or, or even took 2 holidays since he gets so much PTO and he's able to do something small with the kids that, kind of brings them together as a family unit again that appears to be missing as well in these few paragraphs. But honestly, I think it comes down to she doesn't know how to express the way she feels or just in general, it appears, other than letting things build over you. Because this isn't new, obviously. I mean,
12 years.
they're 12 years together, and their oldest child is 7. So raising 3 kids, 2, 4, and 7, obviously, this is built over time, and she hasn't been able to communicate the way she feels. I think that settles all problems. or not settles all the problems, but that gets you back to where I don't see you as the asshole.
So maybe don't take the vacation. Maybe get to the root of why you
I
feel
think that's
like you
more,
want to do this in the first
yeah,
place.
that's more
Yeah.
important
Okay.
than you going and getting pampered for a couple of days.
Well, I don't think she's an asshole. I don't think he's an asshole either. Um, I kind of land somewhere in the middle, and I think you kind of, I don't know, man. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head here. Like there's something else going on. We got to sit down and iron this out.
Yeah,
That's where
I
I
agree.
stand on it. And that's going to get us to our closing icebreaker. I wrote an article earlier today on SoBros Network, a little throwback Thursday piece reminiscing about the glory days of river stages. Old heads in Nashville will know what river stages are. I mean, if you've been to a CMA Fest, you get the concept. They build a stage right there on the Cumberland River, and everybody just went down to Riverfront Park, and we had ourselves a good time all weekend. I wrote about it on SoBrosNetwork.com, but I wanted to ask you, McCash, as the summer concert series kicks off, the season is upon us. Do you have a favorite place to catch a summer concert?
Red Rocks.
Red
Outside,
Rocks.
Red
Oh
Rocks.
man,
Red Rocks outside of Denver is the greatest place. That and the
never been.
Gorge out in Washington are probably the two best outdoor venues in the world, in my humble opinion.
Mm,
I would also go Hollywood Bowl in LA, but local wise, uh, growing up in Memphis, Mud Island Amphitheater on the Mississippi River was a great
yeah.
place to go. I went to the Horde Festival one year, which was that year. It was Lenny Kravitz, Dave Matthews. I'm forgetting so many phenomenal bands, but I watched a man die trying
Oh
to swim
shit.
across, trying to swim the Mississippi River to get to the amphitheater. He
Good
made it about
gracious.
20, 30 yards and then just dropped.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever found his body.
That
He
sucks.
kind of went the Jeff Buckley way. Um,
All right.
and then also Chastain. I don't even know if it's still around, but Chastain in Atlanta, which was a lot like Starwood in Nashville, was the best place for me to go in Atlanta. I saw Prince there once. Phenomenal, phenomenal little venue. But yeah, I love outdoor shows, especially at night when it's kind of cools off. I'm not trying to do outdoor shows in like July in the
No.
South.
Oh
Fuck
man,
that
no.
noise.
I went to Warp Tour in Atlanta in 2005, and I had heat exhaustion. I thought I
Oh yeah.
was closer to dying than I realized I was at the time. And my hair was longer than it is now, but kind of the same deal. Like it was tucked behind my ears, and I had more hair then, so it like covered. I had two. I had a sunburn pyramid on my forehead after that show. It's miserable, miserable. I I don't really have an answer to this, to be honest with you, because I don't go to a lot of concerts. So I was
Yeah.
gonna follow up with some of the outdoor venues around here. I haven't been to Ascend yet,
It's
and
awesome.
the new one that opened up down south of Franklin. That's I can't remember.
First Bank.
First Bank. That's it. Yeah. Have you been to either of those?
I've been to Ascend countless times. Seen Janet Jackson there, 21
Sick.
Pilots, Snoop Dogg, a number of shows. First Bank I hadn't been to. I've had opportunities. I had tickets to go see Steve Miller Band and Mavis Staples a couple of weeks ago, but couldn't make the drive happen.
Mm,
That's a long drive for a concert, especially on a Sunday
yeah,
when I
for
got to work
sure.
the next morning. I couldn't make
Yeah.
that. It's beautiful because it's built out of what a granite or whatever. That's
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
park that's around it, what have you. Um, but yeah, I go back to Chastain because I have fond memories. No, it wasn't Chastain. It was Starwood here in Nashville in the '90s. I went to Lilith Fair,
I love
and
Starwood.
I just found a picture and posted it of me and Liz Fair together at Lilith Fair, and I look
Oh.
like I just escaped from a mental institute because it was so hot and I was so drunk and dehydrated.
Those were the days, huh?
Those were the days, the
I
'90s, baby.
I used to go to Buzzfest when it was at
Yeah,
Starwood. Buzzfest was great. I saw Mudvayne there. That was kinda surreal, because they were the headliner, so it was like the end of the day, everybody was drunk, stoned, and people were
ready to
throwing,
fight.
like, full bottles of Gatorade, full cans of Coke down into the pit. I looked up at one point and I just saw like a chase lounge flying through the air overhead towards the pit. And I look back and people had like ripped another one apart and were just taking bits of the chase lounge and just beating the ground with it. And I remember telling Brandon, like,
White people.
hey man, we might want to get out of here. This is not looking good. So we
Fair.
left before Mudvayne finished their set and got out of there. But that was the type of shit, man. Like there was always a cloud of smoke in the air at Starwood. It was a little ways out of Nashville. I mean, maybe First Bank, kind of the same concept, but I don't feel like anything has been in or around Nashville since Starwood that's been like that atmosphere, the vibe you get at a show
Gotcha.
there.
I
It's
just
just old
love,
Nashville. It's old
yeah,
Nashville.
that's true. But I do love the view you get with Ascend sitting
Mm,
downtown right off the Cumberland River there, and
yeah.
the beautiful Nashville skyline past the stage as you're looking out.
There you have it. Well,
Yeah.
we have reached the end of our SoBros Power Hour. McCash, let our listeners know where they can find you on the interwebs.
Most importantly, on Twitter at MC_cash75. And then after a 6-week absence, I will be back on AMP this Saturday morning, 10 a.m.,
Right.
ready to tickle some funny bones with funny songs that make you laugh.
Hey, I like to hear it.
Yeah. We're going to do
You
a little
love
Aquafina. We're going to get into some old Adam Sandler, you name it.
Okay.
Lonely Island guys, all that good stuff. Got a
I love
good
Lonely
little
Island.
show planned Saturday morning at 10 a.m.
There you have it. Well, I'm at Stoney Keeley. You can follow me on Twitter at Stoney Keeley. Follow us collectively at SoBros Network on all major social media platforms. Check out all of our work at SoBrosNetwork.com. All of our merch is up at SoBrosShop.com. We just launched the It's a Bad Day to Be a Cold Beer t-shirt. That's up there for sale. You can subscribe to our Patreon and get instant access to an exhaustive content library that features over 300 items of premium content. At this point, we're talking articles, podcasts, videos alike, comedy, sports, everything you love about SoBros Network dialed up to 11 there on Patreon. That's patreon.com/SoBros Network. Subscribe to the SoBros Power Hour on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify. Wherever you take in your shows, we are out there in these internet streets, baby. Give us a rating and a review whenever you have a moment. That's how we get better, and we always want to be better for you guys. For the utility man, Stephen McCash, I am Big Natural Stoney Keeley, and until next time, you stay classy, Nashville.